Well, hello there. Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie O with Homeschool with Maggie O, your homeschool mentor. Welcome back to my curriculum review series. We're continuing our math curriculum reviews, and today we're looking at Math Mammoth. So far, we've explored three different approaches to teaching math. Math UC, Saxon Math, and My Academy. And today we're adding another very different option to our list, Math Mammoth. It is a mastery-oriented math curriculum for grades 1 through 8 that places a strong emphasis on conceptual understanding, mental math, and number sense. It is also designed to be uh, it is also designed to be nearly self-teaching for many students, with the actual teaching and explanations written directly into the students' materials. So that's different. That's unique than what we've looked at so far. Also, I'm always going to show you how the curriculum works first. Then at the end, we'll run through it with my Maggie O curriculum fit lens and talk specifically about which learners, homeschool philosophies, and family situations may make Math Mammoth a particularly good fit. So let's take a look inside. Let's get to our screen here and have a peek. This is the actual Math Mammoth website, and this is their light blue series. I'm using this for our walkthrough today because it's really pretty. I like it, and it helps us to understand how this one works. So let's take a look. One thing I did like on here right away, this little part right here, I'm going to click out of it in a second, but you can get some extra help and tips, and you just submit um, your email and your name, and it's like an email course that gives you tips on, how to teach it and work with it. So that's kind of a cool option that we haven't seen. And so we're on the official website for Math Mammoth. And the first thing I want to clarify is that Math Mammoth offers several types of materials. The curriculum that we're looking at today is called the Light Blue Series. This is the complete grade level curriculum, and it currently goes from 1 through 8. So, and then she can even give you kind of like a review of it right here on this video, and you can watch it. It takes you to YouTube, so that's kind of cool. Let me get my microphone here. I'm sorry. I think that may have been hard to hear me. Hopefully, I didn't miss too much of it with you guys, but we're on the Math Mammoth website. Um, the um, the blue series that we're looking at consists of individual work texts and organized by mathematical topic. And those can be useful if you simply need to supplement another curriculum or fill a particular learning gap. So I like that about this program. But for today's review, we're focusing on this light blue series because this is the complete curriculum a homeschool family would use as its primary math program, the page that we're on right now. So let's look at the main features. Right here at the top, Math Mammoth gives us a very good overview of how it actually works. And first, it is a mastery oriented um, type curriculum. It's organized into chapters based primarily around mathematical topics. So instead of constantly moving back and forth between unrelated concepts, students concentrate on a primary theme and related concepts within each chapter. Each grade level, um, each grade level generally contains around 8 to 10 chapters. The second major feature is conceptual understanding. These are the features that we're looking at right here. Math Mammoth doesn't want students simply just memorizing a procedure without understanding why it works. So this makes it a really good choice. I like the answers of why in math. The curriculum uses explanations, visual modes or models, um, and exercises to help students understand the mathematical concepts behind what they're doing. There is also a strong emphasis on mental math and number sense. So students are developing an understanding of how numbers work and learning strategies for working with numbers mentally. Another important feature is that Math Mammoth is designed to be nearly self-teaching for many students. The explanations and teaching are written directly, like I said a minute ago, into the student book. So that's kind of cool. And they highlight that as a feature here. It's a benefit. This is a very different this is very different from a curriculum where the parent has a separate teacher manual containing all of that kind of instruction. Instead, they build it right in. So I like that. And many parents that are wanting more of an open and go kind of thing probably would like that aspect of Math Mammoth. Here, the student sees the explanations directly in the worksheet. There are also free instructional videos. Again, they're free that correspond with the curriculum. So, although this is primarily a written curriculum, students have access to additional video instruction when needed. And I think that's kind of cool. And so, as far as what is provided, you just scroll down here and let's look at what you actually receive. Each grade level is divided into two student work texts, Part A and Part B. And I want to explain the term work text because some parents may not be familiar with it. A work text combines the textbook and the workbook. The teaching and explanations are right there on the page, just like I said. And the student also completes the exercises in that same book. So you're not constantly moving between a separate textbook and a workbook. In addition, the two student work texts in addition to the two student work tests, I'm getting tongue tied. The complete curriculum includes your answer keys. It has your chapter tests and end of year tests, cumulative review lessons, which I love, and a worksheet maker. There are also free videos available online that correspond with the curriculum. One thing I want to point out here is that although Math Mammoth is also mastery oriented, it does still include cumulative review. So students concentrate on a particular topic, but there are opportunities to revisit and review previously learned material. So that makes it a really strong choice. Math Mammoth also offers additional skills review workbooks if a family wants more practice, but those are supplemental and are not automatically included in the complete curriculum, but they're available to you. And then we're going to go right down into here, more information on grade levels. Now we can see the complete grade level progression. And Math Mammoth currently offers grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You can click on any of these to see exactly what is covered. And I love that. That's pretty cool. It's pretty, it looks nice. It's easy to read. It gives you an overview here in this top region, and then it tells you all the features. And then here is your extra like contents and samples. So there are samples, your user guide, and your documentation if you need to worry about that. But I like this. It's nice. I think it's well laid out. With Math Mammoth in particular, looking at the actual pages will give you a much better understanding of how the teaching is presented directly to the student. You can see the amount of written work when you go into those and look a little bit deeper than I'm going to do right here. You can see the visual models and you can get a sense of whether the page layout and teaching style seem comfortable for your particular child. So make sure you go into these and see what they actually look like so that you can get a good feel for that. There's also a complete scope and sequence available if you want to see how mathematical concepts progress across the entire program. And I think that could be actually useful. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, we're into this placement region. I always like it when a company offers placement because I've talked about this before, how every single math curriculum kind of um, brings that about in a different way. So it's very important if you're switching math curricula to do the placement. I think that's when it's the most important to really do it. Or if you're just starting and you, let's say, are bringing your learners from a system based school and you're bringing them to homeschool, the placement can be helpful to you, the parent, before you're buying curriculum so that you're making your dollar, stretch. So they do provide the placement tests, and the company specifically even recommends using them before placing a student into the curriculum. And this is important because math curricula, they don't all progress exactly the same pace or introduce concepts in the same way or in the same order. A child who was considered fifth grade in one curriculum may not automatically be ready to begin Math Mammoth grade 5. So please don't simply just, purchase based on what you think the grade is. Go ahead and take that placement test. I think it's very advantageous. It's a benefit. It's here. You can use it. Why not do that? And make sure that you're setting your child or your learners up and yourself up for success. It can also help identify the placements can if you have gaps somewhere. The placement tests are good for that. It gives you much more useful information than just saying my child is behind in math. They may not be. So you may discover that your child is actually doing very well overall, but we just have some gaps, maybe in fractions or multiplication or another particular area. And this is where Math Mammoth's separate topical blue series can potentially become really useful. If you identify a specific gap, you may be able to target that particular skill rather than repeating an entire grade level. And then we can scroll down here. We're into lesson plans. Again, very intuitive, nicely well laid out website. And Math Mammoth itself is designed to be fairly open and go, like I mentioned a minute ago, and requires relatively little teacher prep, especially when everything's built right in. So that makes it very appealing to a lot of homeschool families, especially busy homeschool families. Families who want more structured daily schedule can purchase lesson plans through Homeschool Planet. These plans break the curriculum into daily assignments and can also incorporate instructional videos and online resources, and that's optional. You don't have to purchase a separate lesson plan in order to use Math Mammoth. So let me just be clear about that. But it's available for parents who prefer having the curriculum scheduled out for them. Other grade levels. Now here is an important limitation that we need to make it clear and that you need to understand. Math Mammoth does not currently offer kindergarten math, and it does not continue into a complete high school math sequence. The complete Math Mammoth curriculum covers grades 1 through 8. The website does provide suggestions and guidance for kindergarten math and for transitioning into high school. But if you're looking for one curriculum company that will carry your child or children all the way through from kindergarten all the way through high school calculus, Math Mammoth is not that. This is primarily an elementary and middle school math curriculum. So if you still wanted to use it, you would be looking at then having to switch. At some point, you're going to change curriculum to carry you through your high school years. For me, and that's not to say that they may not keep rolling stuff out. There's a chance that they could, but we don't know that today. We have to deal with what we know today. And depending on the goal for your homeschool and for your kiddos, we would need to think about that. It's worth considering. And then down here into the purchasing area here, um, I want to briefly talk about purchasing because Math Mammoth gives families several options. The curriculum is available digitally. You have printed versions are also available through various retailers. And there are discounted digital bundles if you want to purchase multiple grade levels. There's another reason I recommend looking carefully at what you're purchasing. You can choose the format that works best for your family, and some families may prefer to purchase the digital version and print what they need. Others may prefer having physical books already printed and ready to use. The main thing is to understand that you have options, and that's what's important. I like having options. So now we've seen how Math Mammoth actually works. So let's run it through my Maggie O curriculum fit lens. Um, the learning style fit. Visual learners, I see a strong potential fit here. It's pretty. It looks, I mean, you can see it just by even being on the website. It's visually appealing. Um, Math Mammoth uses visual models extensively to explain math concepts also, and students aren't just simply given a rule and told to memorize it. They can see mathematical relationships represented visually, so that's pretty cool. Your read write learners, strong potential fit. This is fundamentally a work text based curriculum. Not getting tongue tied this time. The teaching is written directly into the student book followed by written practice. So that's pretty cool. A child who learns well by reading an explanation and then applying it may do particularly well with this format. Independent learners, potentially a very strong fit, particularly as students become stronger readers. Because the teaching is written directly into the student's work text, many students can work with a significant degree of independence. And the free instructional videos can provide additional support when necessary. And that is definitely a nice benefit. Auditory learners, moderate on its own, but stronger when the free videos are incorporated. The core curriculum is, like I said, primarily written and visual. So a strongly auditory learner may benefit from actually using the video component instruction alongside the work text. Hands-on or kinesthetic learners, this is where I would look more carefully. Math Mammoth certainly uses visual models, but it's primarily work text based curriculum. A child who needs to physically manipulate objects in order to understand math may need additional hands on materials or manipulatives. That's not to say you couldn't provide them supplementally and still use this, you could adapt it. And I want to talk about the unique learner consideration for students who need to understand the why behind math. I see this as a potentially strong fit. The curriculum places a significant emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than simply memorizing procedures. So, for a student with gaps in their mathematical foundation, I particularly like the placement tools and the availability of the separate topical blue series. That gives parents the ability to identify and target specific weaknesses. For students who struggle with working memory, the cumulative review may also help and be helpful because previously learned material is revisited and it just keeps it front of mind. For some students with ADHD, the independence and open and go structure might be beneficial. However, a child who is overwhelmed by workbook pages or struggles to sustain attention through written work may need the lessons broken into smaller portions, and you can totally do that. You can adapt it. And for a student with dyslexia or significant reading difficulties, remember that much of the instruction is written directly into the student's book. So the videos may help considerably, but you may still need more parental involvement than a family whose child is a strong independent reader. And for students with significant dyscalculia or other math learning disabilities, I would evaluate very carefully whether a primarily work text based program provides enough explicit individualized instruction. No curriculum automatically replaces specialized intervention when a child needs it. So, as far as the homeschool philosophy fit, I see Math Mammoth fitting particularly well with eclectic homeschool families. It is easy to use this as your math component while taking completely different approaches in other subjects. It can also work well for traditional homeschool families who want a structured, complete math curriculum, but don't necessarily want a heavily scripted teacher manual. Families who value mastery learning and conceptual understanding may also find this approach very appealing because it is relatively open and go and can become increasingly independent. It may work well for relaxed homeschool families who still want a strong systemic math program. For families following a strongly hands on philosophy or those wanting math to center around living books and real world experiences, this may require more supplementation. Parent involvement. I would rate parent involvement as low to moderate with Math Mammoth, depending on the child's age and reading ability. This is one of the major differences between Math Mammoth and something like a highly scripted parent led curriculum. The instruction is right there in the student's book. A strong independent learner may need relatively little direct teaching. A younger student or a child who struggles with reading may need considerably more support. But overall, is designed to require relatively leader teacher prep. So the strongest fit for Math Mammoth, I would put Math Mammoth high on my research list for a child who needs to understand why math works, a strong visual learner, a child who learns well through reading and written examples, student ready for the students ready for more independence, a family that wants mastery oriented math with some cumulative review, a child who needs stronger number sense and mental math skills, a family looking for an open and go curriculum with relatively little teacher preparation, a parent who wants the ability to identify and target specific math gaps, and families looking for a complete grades 1 through 8 curriculum that is available in both digital and print formats. So, my caveat for those who need to be a little bit more careful about Math Mammoth, I would investigate more carefully if your child strongly dislikes workbook based learning. Your child perhaps needs more extensive physical manipulatives. Your child has significant reading difficulties and needs instructions delivered orally. Your child needs constant variety or game based learning. You want a fully online curriculum with automatic grading. You need a kindergarten program, or you want one math curriculum that continues from kindergarten all the way through their high school years. So, for final comparison, now we have 4 very different math options in our review library. Math UC gives you a strong hands-on, visual, mastery-based approach. Saxon gives us incremental instruction and continual cumulative review. My Academy gives us flexible, customizable online learning. And Math Mammoth gives us a mastery-oriented, conceptually focused work text approach that can become increasingly self-teaching. And this is why I continue to say there is no best math curriculum. There are 4 solid curricula right here that we've already reviewed in our library. But they're also 4 very different learning experiences. So the question is always which experience best matches the children or child sitting right in front of you. So that's our look at Math Mammoth. My biggest takeaway with this curriculum is the combination of conceptual understanding, the mastery oriented learning, strong number sense, visual instruction, and the potential for increasing independence. I also really appreciate the placement resources and the ability to use the Topical Blue series if you need to address specific learning gaps. If those features sound like they match the needs of your child in your homeschool, Math Mammoth is absolutely worth putting on your research list. I'm Maggie O with Homeschool with Maggie O, your homeschool mentor. I hope this review helped you better understand Math Mammoth and whether it may be a good fit for you and your family. Remember, we aren't looking for the curriculum everyone else says is best. We are looking for the curriculum that best fits our child and our family and our routine. I'll see you in the next review coming up next. Have a great weekend. Happy homeschooling. See you next time.